If you like horror, 90s nostalgia, and animation, then you've come to the right place. Because today we're going to be watching and discussing the creepiest episodes from the show, Hey Arnold. According to IMDb, the show is the everyday life of Arnold, a 4th grader in the city of Hillwood, Washington, who lives in a multiracial boarding house with his grandparents and a motley assortment of friends and neighbors. The show can be very serious, and there are many episodes that get dark. Whether it's intense topics like war, addiction, and loss, or horror film topics like murders, ghosts, and even vampires, the show produced some of the best and creepiest animation, not only in the 90s, but in general. So we are going to be looking at 3 of those best episodes. If you like what I do, then consider subscribing and let me know your thoughts in the comments. What are your favorite moments, and did I miss one?
I want to suck your blood.
No! Get away! No!
This is not a list ranking these episodes from worst to best, but just a collection of 3 great spooky episodes from the show, in no particular order. At number 3, let's look at the episode Sid the Vampire Slayer. It starts with the 3 friends, Arnold, Stinky, and Sid, watching an old vampire movie at the theater. When it's over, they exit the theater when Sid says he wants to get back home before it gets dark, fearing running into a vampire. Stinky then begins messing with Sid, pretending to be one, as Sid becomes more afraid. He quickly becomes more and more paranoid about vampires, which, I don't know, we vampires aren't that bad. Sid starts suspecting that Stinky is a vampire because he is wearing sunglasses inside, doesn't want garlic bread at lunch, and is excited about an upcoming blood drive. Sid then begins trying to capture evidence of Stinky being a vampire. However, Arnold says Sid is acting crazy and wants to prove to him that Stinky isn't a vampire.
I finally got it, Arnold, the mother of all proof.
What is that?
It's Stinky, Arnold, in his hideous vampire bat state. I caught him last night flying around his yard.
You've got to be kidding.
No, I'm completely serious. I stopped him and caught him with my hat.
Sid.
Now, I know what you're gonna say. How can I be sure that I got the right bat? Well, I know that I did, Arnold, because I saw this one fly right out of Stinky's room. Plus, Iggy told me that Stinky wasn't on the bus this morning, and that can only mean one thing.
That he stayed home sick today?
No! That I've got him, right here.
Sid, you're completely crazy. There is no way that that bat is Stinky.
Arnold, no, wait! What are you doing? Arnold! I can't believe you let Stinky go! Now he's gonna seek revenge on me for sure! He's gonna come after me and suck my blood! I'm doomed! Doomed!
You're not doomed, Sid.
Yes, I am! And now my only chance of survival is to go to Stinky's house tonight and eliminate him before he eliminates me!
Fine. If that's the way it's gonna be, then I guess I have no choice but to go with you.
That's great, Arnold, because I could really use your help destroying Stinky.
Oh, I'm not going so I can help you. I'm going so I can prove to you once and for all that Stinky is not a vampire.
So they go to Stinky's house to confront him. When they arrive, they see what looks like Stinky biting the neck of an animal, wearing a cape, and getting into a coffin. So Sid decides he wants to eliminate him, and he sneaks in from upstairs, while Arnold just walks in the front door.
Aha! At last, I have reached the Dark One's lair! Prepare to face the music, vampire! Arnold, what are you doing here? I told you to wait outside and keep watch.
It's okay, Sid. I talked to Stinky and everything's fine. He's not a vampire.
Oh no, Stinky's already gotten to you. He's hypnotized you and bit your neck and turned you into a blood-guzzling phantom just like him!
Hey, who you calling a blood-guzzling phantom?
I don't know, Stinky. Maybe the guy wearing the cape?
But Stinky and Arnold explain everything to him. The coffin is really a tanning bed, the cape is just a nightgown, and what he was biting was a loose thread on a taxidermy project. Sid doesn't believe it until he sees that Stinky has a reflection in the mirror, which, according to tradition, vampires don't have a reflection. When he realizes this, he is relieved and they leave Stinky's house. Later, Stinky talks to his pet bat about what happened, and we see fangs on Stinky as he laughs. So, is he a vampire or not? Sid has several episodes of him getting fixated on a topic and being unable to let it go, and this is one of them. And the film they watch is also great. I like how they modeled it to look like the Christopher Lee Dracula, with this person, I'm guessing, to be Renfield, played by Peter Cushing. The 2 things I want to point out would be the writing/dialogue and the tone of the episode. They all work together because as the episode changes tone, the writing/dialogue works to help shift it as the story goes along. At first, it just seems like Sid is crazy or overly anxious, but as things start progressing, they start getting a little bit more suspicious. When we see the coffin at the end, it's just like, okay, what is going on here? Maybe Sid isn't crazy after all. When it gets all cleared up, you think, well, okay, that's that. But then Stinky has fangs, So maybe he is a vampire. I love how it's never certain, and it's implied that the legends are true, but in reality, who knows? I think it progresses from seeming like it's a crazy thought to, oh man, maybe it is true. Very well. For number 2, we're gonna take a look at the episode, The Haunted Train. The episode starts with Arnold and Gerald sitting on the porch saying they are bored. Arnold's grandpa comes out and decides to tell him a story he heard during his time working at the railroad. Engine 25 is a haunted train that was derailed by a deranged train conductor. The legend states that he went mad, derailed the train, and drove it all the way down to, well, basically hell. He tells him tonight is the 40th anniversary of the incident. Oh, how convenient. Arnold's grandpa goes inside, knowing he cured their boredom. After hearing this, Arnold, Gerald, and Helga become interested in the story, so they go to the train station that Arnold's grandpa mentions the train passes through. After waiting for some time at the station, Arnold, Gerald, and Helga see that a creepy train actually does pull up to the station, so they climb on board. As they ride it, they keep going further and further away from what they know, into a dark tunnel, and then what finally appears to be the underworld, with fire all around, creepy music, and the stench of rotting eggs. When the train stops and the door opens, Arnold decides to try to fight off whatever is coming through the doors with the hose. After he does that, we see that it isn't a demon, but just a worker. Another worker comes in and asks what's going on, and that this train is only for relief workers who are leaving the plant. Arnold said he thought this was the haunted train. The worker states that this is an old urban legend, and it's not true. The smell is from the sulfur, the lights are faulty on the train, and the music was just him playing the accordion. After clearing all that up, they then take them back to the station where Arnold's grandpa comes and picks them up. After they get picked up, Arnold and his grandpa discuss what happened. Arnold smiles as he tells his grandpa that he set them up so they can have a good time, and that there is no haunted ghost train. Arnold's grandpa laughs and tells him, well, I didn't say that, and immediately afterwards we see none other than the haunted ghost train itself, Engine 25, rolling down the track with the ghost conductor riding it, singing a very eerie song. This is a fantastic episode, with many saying it has to be the best spooky one. I have to say, I absolutely love urban legends and ghost stories, and the legends in Hey Arnold always pique my interest. This one is no exception. If I were a dad or a grandpa, I would absolutely be telling my kids or grandkids stories like he does. I mean, I'm already somewhat of a storyteller with my nephew. And like Arnold's grandpa, I guess you can say that I may sometimes, on rare occasions, very slightly embellish stories I tell by a minuscule amount. Anyways, the legend itself is great, but the episode's 3 best parts would be its setting, the cinematography, and the music. Oh man, the music. The music captures the feel of this episode and A Haunted Train very well. The blues is what I definitely think of when I think of an old haunted American train. The cinematography and setting both work together to bring you the feel of creepy and abandoned. The shots of the train pulling into the station are so good, and the transitions between shots via the smoke are excellent. It really does seem like this is an evil train in a forgotten station that only those seeking will find it. Fantastic episode. And for number 1, we're going to take a look at the episode Ghost Bride. It starts out with Arnold, Gerald, Sid, Stinky, Helga, Eugene, Harold, and Curly walking past a cemetery. As they walk by, Gerald tells the group about the story of the Ghost Bride. The story starts with Cynthia waiting at the altar for her groom. When he doesn't show up, she runs away. Later, she discovers that he didn't show up because he instead married her sister. Enraged, she puts on her wedding dress, goes to their house at night, and hacks him to death with an axe. Yeah, in the kids show. When the police later arrive, she hums the wedding march and jumps out the window. So every year on the anniversary of the murders, she roams the cemetery looking for more victims. The crowd claps for Gerald, but Curly becomes angry because he wanted to tell the story. He also mentions that tonight is the anniversary of the story. Oh, how convenient as well. So they all decide to come later to the cemetery to see if the Ghost Bride shows up. Helga wants to go, but they tell her that girls are not allowed. Later, except for Curly and Helga, they return to the cemetery.
Here lies Cynthia Snow. She lived her life and went straight to... I can't read the rest.
As they wait after checking Cynthia's grave, they decide to leave, but the gate has been locked. Then, the Ghost Bride shows up. They run away and head towards the other gate, but that's locked too. So they run and hide for a moment trying to think of what to do. The ghost bride shows up once again. After they run away, we see that it's actually Helga pulling a prank on them. However, right afterwards, we see what appears to be the actual ghost bride. Helga runs off and meets with the others and tells them she was the one that was pranking them. But none of that matters now because the real ghost bride showed up. So they run. As the ghost bride chases them, they run and hide inside a tomb. After hiding out for a bit, Arnold and Gerald exit, hoping to go find help. However, Arnold figures out who the ghost bride actually is as they head back towards the tomb. Arnold comes from behind and takes the veil off, who is then revealed to be Curly. Angry, the group locks him up in the crypt as they leave. They talk about how the tomb locks from the inside, and there should be no real problem. However, back at the tomb, Curly is inside, tied up, as we hear the wedding march being hummed, and it's getting closer and closer, meaning the real ghost bride has shown up. This episode is one that I am still surprised was even made for a kids show. The fact that she hacked them up while sleeping and then jumped out the window is insane. This is just an example of how the show was not afraid of introducing more mature topics, whether serious or horror movie topics such as these. There are a lot of great factors here. Of course, the writing/dialogue is great, and it helps move the story forward very nicely, very naturally. Everyone behaves realistically when confronted with potential dangers, as one would. But the highlights, I would say, again, will be the setting, cinematography, and editing. All of these horror episodes put such a focus on the look of the environment and how they feel. Details are not overlooked. The Victorian-looking graveyard and the feel of dread wandering around at night in places like these is really effective. And when they enter the tomb, you're just inside of a room made of stone. It just feels claustrophobic. Not to mention, there's a corpse in there too.
We can't just stay in here forever.
Sure we can. These guys did.
But they're dead.
What's your point?
The cinematography has great shots and transitions. The shot of the moon with the clouds is a classic type of shot, one which I am fond of, as well as all the visuals of the graveyard. There are a lot of shots that could be a picture on its own. The shot sizes are picked very well too, with good choices of wide, medium, and close-up shots. The color grading, with its unusual hazy green and fog, adds to the strange feel. This episode truly has a unique color that other horror episodes don't have, and that adds to the eeriness of this place. Its greens and earth tones really sell it. Another fantastic episode from a long list of great horror episodes from the show.
That night, the ghost bride went to her closet and put on her wedding dress. She went down to the basement and found a big, sharp axe. She walked the 13 blocks to her sister's house. Her sister and her husband were asleep in their bed. They never saw the terrible event coming. When the police came, they found her sitting in the rocking chair next to the bodies, rocking herself and smiling while she hummed the wedding march. Then in horror, they could only watch as she jumped from her chair and leaped out the window, resulting in her demise. They buried her in her wedding dress, right here in this very cemetery. And every year, on the anniversary of her gruesome deeds, she rises from the grave and wanders around among the headstones, humming the wedding march and looking for more victims. The end.
Well, that's about it. 3 of the spookiest episodes from the show, Hey Arnold. What did you think? Do you have any that were not on the list? I'd love to hear your thoughts below. Thanks for watching and supporting the channel. Subscribe and click the bell to be notified every time I upload a new video. And if you want to support the channel even more, visit me on Patreon. Well, that's it for now. And thanks for watching. Adios. Thanks again for watching. Please consider supporting me on Patreon as it helps in creating these videos. And if you like this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and click the bell. And consider watching another video as that tells YouTube my videos are worth watching. Thank you, and I appreciate it very much.